Dogs. Britain's favourite pet. We spend £10.6 billion on them a year. At the pinnacle of this booming industry are puppies. Along with the rest of our spending habits, many of us are turning to the internet to buy a puppy. And in large part due to their prominence on social media, the popularity of certain breeds has skyrocketed in recent years.
We love you. It's a long story to tell, and I can only show you my hell. Kiss, 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 kiss me, love. I'm bleeding inside.
But I've heard that a dark underworld is thriving, fueled by our insatiable appetite for these breeds. And that some of them have such horrific health problems that vets are calling for us to stop breeding them altogether. I want to know more and find out who's to blame. Is it us?
One touch will do.
My name's Grace Victory. I'm a YouTuber and I make videos about beauty, fashion, body image and mental health. And I also have a dog. This is my crazy dog. As a vlogger, I can't help noticing that social media is full of a select few breeds of dog.
Say hello to everybody.
I wonder whether their prominence online has anything to do with the surge in demand for these dogs and the cruel trade in puppies that I've heard about. I'm on my way to meet fellow YouTuber Becca Rose and her pug Rupert to hear what she thinks of this trend.
Rupert, you want to say hello? Hello, baby. Oh, I love you so much.
Oh look, that's a paid job. So I'm just on Becca's Instagram page and her recent photo is of Rupert, the pug, and it has a hashtag ad in the caption, which means that it's a sponsored post, which means that Rupert's received payment to post this photo. Obviously Rupert is a dog, so Becca has been paid to post this photo of her dog, which I think is like really interesting. It just goes to show you the magnitude that brands will even now pay for a photo of your dog on your social media account, which just blows my mind. Are you excited?
We're going to take some pictures for all your followers.
How many has Rupert got?
He's got just under 10,000, but a lot of them are kids and they just love seeing him. You don't like love hearts? He gets sent a lot of stuff, like we do. I'm not obliged to upload anything, but obviously it's nice to say thank you to the brands. So sometimes we position you with them, don't we?
Any head tilt for the photo, Rupert. Give me 5. Yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Should we show them to your friends on Instagram? Yeah. Oh, he wants to play so bad. There. Good boy. Is your tongue out? You want to give me a high five? Good boy.
I just feel like people are obsessed with like the Frenchies, the pugs, the miniature dogs. Do you think that influencers and YouTubers and bloggers play a massive part in what is the it dog?
The young people, for example, like Zoe, Sug has a pug and Rhyme, and I think that her viewers will love her dog.
It's just the best thing ever, and you're just the best doggy.
It makes people aware of pugs and it makes people like pugs.
And you let me pick you up, and we have cuddles, and, you know, even though your breath's bad sometimes.
Do you feel slightly responsible because you share Rupert and you have so many followers?
I think that people don't talk about where they got their dog from. They just say, here's the new dog, or like, I'm getting a dog, you don't hear where from. So I think personally, me included in this, we need to talk about the responsibility that we need to have in where we get them from, because we don't. It's not talked about.
Yeah.
He's running, he's running, he's running, he's running. There he goes. 2 deceased puppies.
5 very young puppies which can fit through the bars. There's no mother dog in sight. A wheelbarrow containing numerous dead puppies. However, one of them is still breathing.
I've come to meet Chief Inspector Ian Briggs from the RSPCA Special Operations Unit to hear about the ugly side of the puppy trade.
I work for the RSPCA Special Operations Unit, and our remit is to investigate organised animal cruelty across England and Wales. So things like dog fighting, badger digging, bird trapping, and part of our remit is the trade in puppies. You've got millions of pounds worth of dogs being trafficked into the UK constantly. We recently finished a case in Manchester where the estimates on that one was about 1.2 million. In the end, we raided them with the police and we recovered 95 puppies, all found in plastic buckets that had just recently been delivered from Ireland.
Oh my God.
And we found a couple of dead puppies that were there.
We have a deceased puppy in with a live puppy.
It was a business based on the selling of sick dogs. At the time, I described it as cruelty on an industrial scale, because it was. They had thousands of dogs go through their hands, and a percentage of those fell sick, died. They don't care what they're doing with these dogs. It's a commodity that they're bringing in and selling on as quickly as possible in order to maximise the profits. After we raided them the first time, they carried on selling.
That's the audacity, that is.
It's money. At the end of the day, the punishment under the Animal Welfare Act is a maximum sentence of 6 months in prison. That, to them, is just a break in their money-making activities. But we continue to work on this particular gang, and they were sent to prison.
So the general public will put in, I don't know, pug or French bulldog, and an advert comes up. How do they not know this from, you know, puppy smugglers?
It is very difficult for the public to identify who is a legitimate breeder and who is a dealer. The advert could quite easily say, homebred puppies, good with children, mother available. What they're trying to do is project this image that they have bred that dog. They'll have different mobile phones marked up for the breed of the dog, highly glossy brochures that will accompany the dog, and within that will be a pedigree. Now, these pedigrees, they're not worth the paper they're written on. And again, it's all designed to dupe the buyer into believing they're buying it from
legitimate
a
place.
breeder.
I never realised how big of a problem it was.
It's a massive problem. Anybody can bring in a load of dogs from Ireland, stick them on the internet, turn over a huge profit. And that's where we need to concentrate to make that more difficult.
I've come to Dublin Port in Ireland, where customs and DSPCA officers are checking vehicles queuing up to board a ferry to the UK.
Our officers are looking for drugs, tobacco, alcohol, firearms, and also puppies as well.
It wouldn't be uncommon to find 20, 25 puppies in the boot of a car. We've had seizures where we've had upwards of 100 puppies at a time. That cargo is probably worth something at sales value in the UK, could be worth up to 20,000 sterling. The cost of producing those puppies in Ireland is nothing like that. Now, this is big business. There are farms in Ireland where there are 500 and 600 bitches who do nothing else but produce puppies every day.
So what is a puppy farm?
The animals can be kept in a very small area, maybe a couple of metres square. She's impregnated, the puppies are taken away from her at 4 weeks old. Then she's possibly given hormone injections to bring her back into heat again so that she can produce more puppies. So the animals will live for 3 or 4 years, at which stage the animals are exhausted and are put down and destroyed.
Yeah.
Those animals are not treated any better than battery hens. They're fed mechanically, they have no idea what human beings even are. And this is just no way to treat man's best friend. If these were animals being bred for food, we would be all over this in Ireland. But because they're not for the food industry, they're completely neglected. If you think of it in terms that Ireland is the production centre and the UK is the shop, so things are being produced here and shipped over to the UK to be sold as UK-born purebred dogs.
"300 miles away in Dover, customs officials are seizing increasing numbers of puppies that have been smuggled in from Europe on ferries. I've come to the Dogs Trust kennels where puppies that have been seized are quarantined. The most smuggled breeds of dogs into the UK are French Bulldogs, Pugs and Dachshunds." So I'm a blogger.
Yeah.
And I'm really used to seeing pugs, miniature dogs, living a really luxurious, glamorous life. So it's really weird and quite sad to see them here.
Yeah, most of these puppies were only seized over the weekend, some at even 3 o'clock this morning, and they were brought into our care at these kennels. The puppies have to face really, really long journeys. Conditions they're travelling in are very poor. They could be quite severely dehydrated and poorly by this point. And due to their immune systems being so low and weakened, them being so young and also not having the proper vaccinations, up to 10% of these dogs do actually die despite all the veterinary treatment that we give them when they arrive here in sort of the holding kennels. Oh, this one's tiny. You must be the runty one. Thank you very much.
Grant the vet is doing a health check on some puppies that were seized by customs in the early hours of this morning.
1.5 kilos.
Oh, tiny.
And when you're doing these checks, what are you looking for?
We're just trying to get an age of the puppy and also just to check that it's healthy, make sure there's no other pre-existing diseases or conditions.
How old do you think he or she is?
I believe this puppy to be 12 weeks of age. It should be at least 15 weeks to legally enter the United Kingdom on the pet passport scheme.
So do you think he's been smuggled illegally for the purpose to be sold in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a responsible owner would wait, till the 15 weeks to transport their dog. So, it makes it unusual for a dog of this age to be transported.
I just feel like it's really sad that there even has to be a holding kennel for them because human beings are puppy farming them and then smuggling them into the country. I really honestly believe that the demand is coming from social media. We're glamorising these breeds, but no one knows the backstory or what's actually going on in the world. And here are miniature dogs being housed in a holding kennel because they've been brought over illegally, and it's just really, really shit.
All done?
Yeah.
Done.
I've come to meet Hayley, who bought a Puggle puppy online from a criminal gang.
We looked on a couple of selling sites and stuff. I think we finally found Marley on Gumtree. I can't remember it word for word, but it is something along the lines of cute Puggle, 11 weeks old, from a lovely family home. There was lots of pictures of her and her little mates and everything. These people just seemed so genuine, you know what I mean? That they make it their job to make you feel at ease. In our case, I do believe that it was just a show house, and they just put things around to kind of look like they live there, and then they just use that as sort of a base for selling the puppies. You think, this will never happen to me. So we got her home, and she was a happy little pup, no problems whatsoever to begin with. And then after about 2 weeks, she started to go downhill. She had an autoimmune disease. Her body was fighting against itself, which means basically she didn't have all of the goodness from her mum, and she kept vomiting her food up constantly.
What was the most difficult part of Marley's sickness?
We woke up to her breathing heavily at 5 in the morning, and she was in a right state, wandering around, and she just wouldn't settle. I was like, okay, there's something wrong. And we drove to the vets, and she was sat on my lap, and she was looking into my eyes, and she was breathing heavily, and I know this sounds weird, but she kind of looked at me as if to say, help me. And I was crying, and I was shaking, and then she kind of took a breath and then stopped breathing. She died in my arms. I tried to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. It's like, I don't care if people think, that's gross or whatever.
It's the cutest thing ever. I would do the same.
It felt like my heart had been ripped out. That feeling, it just literally just dropped.
Bulldogs, pugs and Shih Tzus are becoming increasingly popular as pets.
But now vets are warning that the demand for flat-faced breeds of dogs is harming their welfare.
It's not just smuggle dogs that have health problems. The squashed-face look that we are breeding into our French bulldogs and pugs makes it difficult for them to breathe. What seems to be cooed over as a cute characteristic online is actually the source of suffering and chronic health problems. I've come to the Royal Veterinary College where French Bulldog Scrappy is having surgery to improve his breathing. A lot of these dogs require corrective surgery on their airways due to their shortened snouts.
You look scared.
Yeah, I feel like it's not real. I don't know, I just feel like this isn't happening.
It's very, very real. Yeah, but it will be for his benefit. Okay.
So the surgeon has now cut off the excess part of the soft palate. So hopefully now he'll be able to breathe a lot easier.
Now he has a clear airway. Now he can breathe past his soft palate.
That's still so small though, isn't it?
It's still small, but this should be big enough for him, yeah?
Next, the vet enlarges Scrappy's nostrils to allow him to breathe easier through his nose.
This one bleeds more than the soft palate, actually.
But you can see from the nostril that has been done, the visible difference in breathing space.
It's not fair on them, and it impacts their quality of life. We shouldn't have to do surgery for them to be able to just breathe,
Yeah. So now we've done Scrappy, what other surgeries do we have today?
We have a few more BOA surgeries, so the same procedure as Scrappy had.
Yeah.
So the next one will be a little pug, and later on in the day we have another Frenchie with the same problems as well.
So how many do you think you do a day, or on a weekly basis?
It depends from 3 to 6, 7 a week.
Of the same procedure, of the
same
flat
procedure.
face dogs?
Yes.
I can't believe that.
But yes, it's nearly half of my work nowadays. Yes, people love the appearance of the flat face.
But why?
Well, originally they were meant, like the English Bulldog, they were meant to have a slightly shorter nose so that they could still grab a bull and still breathe. If your nose is compressed against it, then you would have to let go.
So humans, it's just us, isn't it? We are the people that are doing
we started to like
this.
that, the way that looked, and then we have exaggerated it. But most people don't realize just as how badly affected they can be, and that actually the flatter the face means the more problems he will have.
We're just so selfish.
I'm with you.
While Scrappy recovers from his surgery, I meet with his owner Amy in the waiting room. How much is it costing?
So it's estimated at the moment, so we don't know exactly, but it's up to 3,000.
So what?
Yeah, so I think the estimate was anywhere from 1,800 to 3,000.
And is that with insurance?
He's insured, but he's not covered by insurance because it's a breed defect, and a lot of insurance make it a clause.
Do you kind of wish that you got a different dog?
No, because he's incredible. Like, I wouldn't change him for the world, but
it's just costing you an arm and a leg right now. Luckily, Scrappy's owner has stood by him. But charities are reporting that owners of today's must-have breeds are abandoning their dogs in alarming numbers. I've come to RSPCA Putney to meet a puppy they've just taken in.
So here's little Pumpkin.
He's tiny.
He is.
Oh, hi. Hi.
We think he's about 8 or 10 weeks old.
I need to hold.
With pleasure. Just don't drop him, okay?
Yes. Oh.
So he's a little live wire. He'll be a little wriggler. Hey, sweetheart. But he's just super, super friendly. There you go.
Hi.
So he was found in a garden by a member of the public, and he had a note attached close by to him saying a free pug.
And he's got one eye.
He's got one eye. He came into us with an injured face and an injured eye on this right-hand side here. He couldn't see out of that eye. It was a source of quite a lot of pain for him. And so we removed it last week, and he's been doing fantastically well.
And he's not in pain anymore.
He's not in pain anymore. We see a lot of injuries like this, where dogs have been hit over the head, but some people get really impatient with them.
But why?
Weeing on the floor, or if they're pooing on the floor, which is perfectly normal for a puppy.
Oh.
Unfortunately, people take on these puppies, or any puppies, and they don't realise the amount of work that's required. So we're going to take him through now into one of our consulting rooms to check up on how the eye's doing. If you want to pass him to me, I'll carry him through, because
he's eating my hair.
He loves your hair. There we are. Come on then, little puglet. Go through. Okay, there we go.
From what I see on with my friends and other social media people that I know who have massive following, they all have these dogs.
Yeah. That fuels the increase that we've seen in these dogs, and they're really cute. You can pick them up, you can hold them next to your face, have your picture taken.
Take a selfie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me and my pug. We tend to immortalise them a bit in terms of merchandise and things like that. I'm sure you've seen the t-shirts, Pugs Not Drugs. I think people abandon these dogs frequently because they're not aware of the healthcare problems they can have and how much care they will need. And those health problems can get very expensive. And then they're left with a heartbreaking decision of having to either put them to sleep or spend thousands on veterinary bills just to get them right. These flat-faced breeds, such as these, both myself personally and the profession more widely, we do regard them as the worst examples of what we've done to dogs as a society through selective breeding. Even though they're really cute, essentially we've produced these mutant dogs which are beset with all sorts of health problems.
We've got a problem in this country with how we go about choosing and buying our dogs. And I'd be the first to put my hand up and say that I've been a part of the issue. I bought my dog Snickers on Gumtree, and I went to the house, didn't see Snicker's mum, I saw different breeds of dogs in the house. It's quite clear to me now I didn't get him from a legitimate place. Now I know, and I do feel a bit stupid, but it's obvious that the awareness isn't there. I do think that influencers on social media do have a lot to answer for. And of course, the criminals that are behind this cruel trade of puppies need to be stopped. But we as consumers have to accept that we are to blame as well. We need to be more responsible about the breeds that we choose, and we have to start thinking about where the puppies we buy are coming from before we buy them.